Imagine this. You're scrolling on your favorite social media app, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram. You see fairly ordinary videos, funny cat videos, nature documentaries, various skylines of cities. But then suddenly you start to see shocking content. A debate gone wrong with people screaming and yelling at each other. An AI-generated video of a devastating earthquake that wiped out an entire population. An article that claims that terrorists are among us and they might be your neighbors. An animated video of dancing, singing toilets on heads. Yeah, it's weird. What do all of these have in common? They all relate to the number one rule of the internet, and it's that you should not believe everything you see on the internet. According to a 2024 study, 1/3 of participants reported having seen misinformation in politics, and that's just the start. Other topics like wars, the economy, and immigration are also very common topics of misinformation. Now, some of you are probably scratching your heads asking me, what is misinformation? Misinformation is the intentional fabrication of data that you spread on the internet. In simple terms, it's basically when you make up false information that you then spread to the internet, like as if it's true. For example, I could say, lemons cure every single type of disease there is in the world, or tires are now made out of the skeletons of rats. These claims might seem funny, but unfortunately out there are people who would believe in these kinds of information. However, there are ways to combat misinformation. Next time, whenever you're scrolling on social media and you see claims like this, ask yourself, are these claims realistic? Could I talk to a professional of this specific claim about this claim? Could I research this claim to see if this is actually true? Which brings me to my next point. Whenever you're scrolling on social media, always try analyzing media bias. I want you guys to look at the article at the top. Heroes in Action, a tribute to all climate strikers. This article is about climate strikers, obviously. However, the very first word, heroes in action, this phrase clearly shows that the author of this article is supporting these climate strikers by giving them a tribute. Now I want you guys to look at the second article. Climate activists embrace extreme tactics, violence, as deadline to save the planet draws near. The topic is quite literally about the same thing, climate activists. However, the author of this article views them in a completely different way. He claims that they are using extreme tactics and violence, showing that the author is against these climate activists. You can clearly see that when discussing a certain topic, people have a different perception on how this topic is shown throughout the world. Some people support this topic, some people are against this topic, as for example, climate strikers. However, this isn't the only thing. Like I mentioned earlier, politics, immigration, economy, people have different perceptions. Next time you see articles on this, especially when reading a newspaper or watching a video, think to yourself, what is their opinion? And is there an opposition that has a completely different set of values from what this original author is stating? I want to mention a third point. And over the last 2 points, I covered stuff about humans. However, I also want to talk about AI-generated content. Recently, AI-generated content has taken over social media. Whenever you scroll down, you sometimes see silly stuff like a shark running on sneakers or a crocodile airplane. But unfortunately, at other times, you could see extremely realistic objects. I want you guys to look at these two AI-generated pictures of frogs. One of them is real and one of them is AI-generated. However, I want you to think to yourself, why is the frog on the left AI-generated? Now, in your mind, stop raising your hands, guys. But anyhow, the reason why the frog on the left is AI-generated is because of brightness. That is the biggest indicator. As you can see, The brightness throughout the frog is extremely unusually smooth compared to the frog on the right. The back of it is unusually blurred out while the frog has an extremely crisp view compared to the real image. And if you haven't noticed yet, the frog on the left has a third leg and a weird looking eye. Look closely. You'll eventually find it. So basically the point I'm trying to make is, whenever you're looking at AI-generated content, I want you guys to ask yourselves, am I looking at a real object? Is there any signs of motion blur or a brightness disparity that I could spot in this AI-generated video? And can I research this particular topic to find out whether this particular image is actually real or not? Those are the questions I want you guys to be asking next time you scroll on the internet. So next time you are looking at YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram Reels, I want you guys to ask yourself this question. Am I being internet vigilant? Thank you.